Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Boundless Brains Talk Radio. I'm your host, Dave, broadcasting from Hobart, Indiana, where winter has returned. Looks like Mother Nature has taken us on a roller coaster ride. So, relax and let's dive into the show. The subject today is why people cling to certain brands, tools, or rituals. Today on Boundless Brains, I want to talk about something we all do, whether we admit it or not. We cling to certain brands, certain tools, certain rituals. And it's not because we're stubborn or stuck in our ways, it's because those choices say something who we are and what we need to feel steady in a world that keeps shifting under our feet. This isn't about products, it's about people. Identity and belonging. Let's start with identity. When someone says, I'm a Ford guy, or I only use Apple, or this is the way my family always did it, they're not talking about a truck or phone or recipe. They're talking about themselves. A brand becomes a badge. A ritual becomes a story. A tool becomes a piece of who we are. It's not the object, it's the identity wrapped around it. Emotional safety and predictability. Life is unpredictable. Jobs change, bills rise, people come and go, but the same coffee mug every morning, the same route to work, the same old tool in the garage that has been with you for 20 years. Those things don't change. And that predictability gives us emotional safety. Rituals aren't just habits, they're anchors. Trust built over time. When something works, really works, we stick with it. Not because it's the best on paper, but because it's never let us down. That's why people stay loyal to a brand long after the marketing fades. It's a relationship, it's history, it's trust earned the slow way. And trust is hard to replace. Nostalgia and memory. Some rituals connect us to people who we've lost or moments we miss. Maybe your dad always used a certain wrench. Maybe your grandmother cooked a certain way. Maybe you grew up listening to the same radio station every night. Those aren't preferences, they're memories you can hold in your hands. Now, this next section I'm actually guilty of because a good friend of mine, Carol, which is AKA her name, we call her Chop, God rest her soul. She always told me that I was feared of change. She would suggest something and I would say no. Or she would say, "Well, change this," and I would say, "No. I'm just one person that's just not used to change. I do everything the same way." So fear of loss or change, let's be real, change is uncomfortable. Why, yes, it is. Switching brands or breaking a ritual feel like a risk. What if the new thing fails? What if I lose what I know works? People cling to what familiar be excuse me. People cling to what familiar because the unknown feels bigger than inconvenience. And I have to agree with all of that because that is probably my biggest fear is change. I don't like it. I like to stay and do the same things the same way. I don't know about you. If you get a chance, call in and let me know, or give me a chat and tell me what you think of that. Are you the same way? You don't like change? You follow the same procedures day after day? Let me know. Social proof and community culture. In a city, especially places like Hobart, shared rituals become part of the culture. The same diner, the same grocery store, the same brand our neighbors use, the same routines that make us feel like we belong somewhere. It's not just a habit, it's a community identity. Emotional reward. And finally, rituals feel good. They give us a sense of control, accomplishments, or comfort. The ritual of maintaining your car, and I'm big on this, I maintain my car all the time. In fact, we have a broadcast coming up about the myths of uh, vehicle maintenance. The ritual of prepping for winter. Yeah, I prep for winter all the time in the Midwest here. I pretty much stay in until it's over. The ritual of Sunday routines. These aren't chores. They're grounding moments that remind us we're still here, still capable, and still connected. My closing thought. People don't cling to brands, tools, or rituals because they're stubborn. They cling because things help them feel like themselves. They help them feel safe. I agree with that. They help them feel connected to their past, to their community, and to their own identity. And in a word that changes faster than any of us can keep up with, holding on to something familiar isn't weakness, it's human. I have to agree with that too because I do. I hang on to a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm not one that likes change. I fear new change, to be honest with you. Okay, before we close out the show, I want to remind you that tonight at 6 p.m., we're going to have another broadcast on Boundless Brains Talk Radio. It's going to be called Online. So basically, people will be able to call in, and if you have a story, a problem, or something you want to get off the chest, don't hesitate to call. This is your chance tonight. It's an open line, and you don't have to use the open line. You don't have to speak on the open line. You can use the chat if you feel uncomfortable about talking in public. Then I will take the chat and I'll read it for you. Okay, so tune in tonight at 6 p.m. I appreciate you spending part of your morning with me. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll see you next time, which will be tonight at 6 p.m.